It's about John Dramani Mahama, the presidential candidate of the NDC, former president, raising concerns about the current state of the economy, and so asking the generality of the voting public or the Ghanaian public to be measured of their expectations, because a lot of work needs to be done, he says. But the question we're asking this morning, that we know that the economy is not good, so what needs to be done, and how should we be measured in our expectations? So we're having that conversation this morning. And as you know, Ken Japan has been raising a lot of issues. Says that government appointees, they've been taking over state assets in what we call, in local parlance, left, right, center, rough. Should we be worried about that? You know, so we'll be posing the questions to our two leading panelists this morning. Nana Kumia is joining us, and then also Alex Segbefia. So we'll have some great time. But in the meantime, let's start with what Kenny Japan raised.
I'm telling you today. So I'm telling you that I'm buying sasemi, a dying, and one person tongue. I mean, I'm got before I started. Former Chief Justice, only Judicial Service, any ascenso, Omumeyano, Aye Justice, Mafu Sound, Oyano, Nifia or Timono, a Diana Essie, a Abidia, a Nipabi Omufasa, Dan Granny and Womo, and net positions in tea, home person over the fire. I have a tax for the Vice President of Mahama. The Vice President we know, Mahama may say, Sadano, maybe actually, I'm the issue of my investigation. Because one person Sadano, and woman. The Bagias also, Omopa, Omunian Yombeka, Ghana first. Mekano Procosissimo. For yet 20 Emma Frebi, Momo Break, Emma Womono, and Konya positions, and from Ghana, Japan, and yet Juma. Let them take me to court. Only I mean a report to special prosecutor first. My dear former Chief Justice, you should come out and let us know. Justice Safu Mafu Sound. If you are not team or we are CCA or Mafa. What kind of life is this? No more pompous. Namutu abama woman. We are regulations and the powers and so. As I said on the say, Chief Justice and a country. Mafu Sanfiano, a DNS. Please. We are not going to allow anybody and to be house someone to be threatened. They are living.
Well, so that's what Kenny Japan has been raising. We want to quickly just take a look at this before we delve into the subject being raised by John Dramani Mahama. I have Alex Segbefia here, Director of International Relations for the NDC. Good morning to you, Mr. Segbefia. How are you?
Good morning to you, and good morning to my co-panelists and your viewers. As always, it's a pleasure to be with TV3.
What's your reaction, quickly, before we get into the main subject of what John Dramani Mahama has been saying, to what Kenny Japan has been raising? He insists that individuals in government, appointees, seem to be on a rolling spree or roller coaster of just grabbing state assets. He's not going to tolerate that. He thinks that there should be a certain responsibility, whether it's going to be John Dramani Mahama or Mahmoud Bawumia, if he wins the election, to sanitize all that. If somebody has a state asset that is unworthy, it has to be taken back and then punishment to due, etc. What do you make of this?
Well, there's a saying that when the fish comes out of the water to tell you that the crocodile is underneath, it has a stomachache. You, the gazelle or antelope on the land, cannot question it.
Yeah.
In this case, it is not a fish or a shrimp come to tell us about the crocodile. It's the baby crocodile itself.
Baby crocodile.
The child of the crocodile is telling us that this crocodile has a stomachache.
Anyway, Mr. Akumia, thank you for joining us as well. Good morning.
Morning.
Great.
Welcome.
You were saying?
So the accusation is not coming from somebody who is a serial caller or is a constituency executive or even a regional executive member. We are talking of somebody who, by all measurements, is a big senior guru of the New Patriotic Party. Not only is he a senior guru, he came second in their presidential race.
The primaries.
The primaries. So if Kennedy Agyapong is telling all of us that his colleagues, along with some government or civil servants or government officials, are misbehaving with our lands, you cannot just write it off as propaganda or someone who is in a race. The race is over. The game is over. They have done their reconciliation. And he believes that he will still speak truth to the nation. So there are serious questions. I've seen a letter from the ministry indicating that they have a policy which we've all known about, where they take certain government's lands which have a lot of space and they carve it up.
Redevelopment.
Exactly. Now, it's as if state lands have never been bought by government officials. And the one that comes to mind immediately,
The famous case?
of Jacob Lamte.
Exactly.
Exactly. He even took the case to court and he was granted the right to buy. So when you come out with such a statement, it's almost as if to say that this is something that cannot happen or it's not been happening. It's happening. It's real. So, granted, I take anything now that government officials say in certain regard with a pinch of salt. And why do I do this? Less than 2 weeks ago, we had a letter from a government official indicating that they had stopped the concert for the reasons being government had programs or the place had been booked for another.
You mean the Independence Square?
Exactly. Involving PLO Lumumba and a host of other speakers.
Julius Malema.
Exactly. Julius didn't come, by the way, but the other three were there, Obi and the lady. Now, that was also a letter written by a government official. And it's still palpably false. Nothing was going on at the Black Circle the day before, the day of the occasion, and the day after. But it was the day that matters. Nothing. So if I have another government letter now, am I supposed to be enthused or be jumping up and down saying that this is definitely accurate? You see, when there's an integrity problem at the moment with the government.
The Kufuor government.
Big time. Look, and it stems from the falsehood that has been perpetrated with regard to statements by themselves. So anything that is said now, we just say, and leave it. Why? You had a president himself come and assure the nation openly there will be no haircut. Probably false. We have had serious haircuts. We had a president who said, in 12 months, I will build 88 hospitals. False. He changed it. 18 months, I'll build 111 hospitals. False. So anything that is coming from government, I've used him as the benchmark. I haven't even gone to his running mate Baumia on the number of things Baumia has said which have been shown to be totally wrong and has not been able to live up to. And now we are drawing civil servants into the falsehood. And I've given you the example of the Independence Square issue. So we've seen the statement. We know that some government bungalows have been bought and are being bought by sympathizers or government apparatus. And yes, the next thing you are going to get is equalization. Oh, some government boys were also bought under the NDC. We are not in government. For this reason, we were removed 7 years. We have been out of government. And if you are going to do equalization, does it even make it right? It's not right. I have never believed that. Why? There's Airport Hills, there's Airport Residential Area. There are areas which don't have government. Why should it be Ridge, Laboni? No. No.
Then who should buy them?
Why? If developers are buying them, we have no problem.
Okay. As part of the overall
exactly.
redevelopment.
I don't have a problem with the redevelopment program. I don't. But the JEX issue is, for me, what sets the benchmark. He should never have been allowed, or as just on a moral basis, that property should not have been sold. He himself should have pulled out. To even fight it in court was unfortunate. But it sets the mindset of how things are seen. If that land which he had bought had been knocked down and redeveloped, what makes it even worse is that this is the same government that has pulled down bungalows belonging to judges under the what's it called?
The National Cathedral project.
Exactly, under the auspices that we are building a National Cathedral.
It's not under the auspices. The ground is there.
The hole is there. The hole is there. And the ground is definitely there. It's just gone lower. But the point is, we do not seem to be treating government properties right, and we are making bad decisions. So if we are now being told, this is not some investigative journalism by any NDC person coming up with some story. No. The person who was second in your primaries.
Presidential primaries.
Presidential primaries. An MP of how many years standing is coming out and accusing his colleagues of purchasing government property for personal gain. I'm not simply going to just, because of a letter from a civil servant, say that it is rubbish. And the question we ask also, what would you believe? I don't believe anything they do anymore. And it's not my fault. I've cited numerous examples of untruths that have been made. And, government do things. You have one, you have two, but it is a plethora of untruths that have been told to us by the president himself. The biggest of all is Baumia. Baumia made so many promises. The best thing that could have happened to us for an election is for them to bring him. Because we are going to just keep telling him, Ghanaians, what he promised and what he has failed to do. I'll hand over to my colleague.
Mr. Kubian, when you heard Kennedy Japan say that to delegates of Bantama during that interaction, you haven't been a Minister of State. You should be worried that he, as an insider, makes serious allegations of wanton takeover of state assets just because people within government, in the Akufo-Addo, Baumia-led government, are in privileged position and so are taking over those state assets.
Well, let me wish your audience a good Tuesday morning. I'm surprised that my brother here said he has handed over to me. Obviously, he grew tired of the propaganda. It's a straightforward issue that we are discussing. An allegation has been made.
Allegation?
By, yes, or is not. Is it not? It's an allegation that has been made by a senior politician. And we are discussing, and then there has been a response to that allegation, an official response, denying the allegation. And then you brought it up so we can look at the merits and demerits. It's a straightforward issue. Now, my brother here goes, brings in the president, brings in Bawumia, brings about everybody. I'm the only person that he didn't mention.
I can help you if you want.
I don't understand. Are you trying to trivialize the issue? Or?
No, the propaganda is not necessary.
You mean his response?
The propaganda in his response. Okay. Because it's a straightforward issue that we are dealing with. Somebody has made an allegation, isn't it? And there's been an official denial. And you want to look at the merits. That's the issue that you posed. And then went on, and when he got tired of the propaganda, then he says that I've handed over. Look, one thing that this shows is that in the NPP, there are people within the party who, if they believe there is some ill going on, they will speak about it. And that is a credit to the party.
You mean Kenny Japan raising these issues?
I'm saying that in the end, it shows that in the NPP, there are people within the party, myself included, who, when there's some ill going on, they will speak about it. And it's a credit to the party that you have people in the party like that, and the party tolerates them. So, really, there's no issue. The allegation that has been made by my colleague, Kennedy, you see, I look at the context, and I'm intrigued about the context. If there is some wrongdoing going on, and you want to speak about it, you speak about it. But to go to that forum, so if that forum wasn't available, he wasn't going to speak about it.
But Mr. Akupinya, where were you expecting him to say anything?
Well, I'm saying that if there's something wrong, speak about it. The forum that he chose is a little worrying.
Why?
Because there you go to meet delegates. You go to meet delegates in Kumasi. You know, I think that if there's something going on, bring it up. That's what I'm saying. It makes it more credible. Now, having made the allegation, my brother here is trying to let us believe that is the truth. Don't be that hasty. It is worth investigating. Because it's straightforward. He mentioned the site. He said that there's
Mafosau's former bungalow.
Where there was
and indeed, we've also undertaken our checks.
Okay.
Just to corroborate what the Ministry of Housing statement did say, it's under some sort of redevelopment.
Okay.
Okay.
So
your question then is whether it is a legitimate activity or not.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Because the ministry says that there's redevelopment going on.
Yes.
Yes. But
which has been known for years.
Yeah, but the allegation was that it has been sold to some party people, or isn't that allegation?
So the allegation is that it's been sold to individuals, whether they are politically exposed, they are related to the government, and the supervision is by a minister.
The Ministry of
Works
but
and
the
Housing.
redevelopment projects, they are supervised by the Ministry of Works and Housing.
Well, certainly.
Now, this entire Accra redevelopment project, I'm sure my brother should know. If he doesn't know, I need to remind him. It was started in 1999, the whole Accra redevelopment project, because in many parts of Accra, colonial Accra, for want of a better word, you would have huge spaces, 1 acre, 2 acres, with some small bungalow sitting in there.
In the middle.
And the boys' quarters 50 meters at the back. Those were the days when really it was the colonial administration. The policy was that you can't have all of this empty land in the middle of the city. So you need to redevelop them. So the policy came in 1999 when Jerry Rawlings was the president. And I was in Parliament, so I'm very, very much aware of the policy. And the policy was that give out those lands so they can be developed to match the value of the lands. So when you go to a lot of these places in cantonments and Ridge and Labone and so, you see all these lands being redeveloped, some into housing estates, condominiums, all over the place. That's a result of that policy. Then there was also another policy in the same called infilling, where when there's a small plot that cannot be suitable to do a housing estate or condominium, you sell it to individuals. So that is the policy. And since then, we've seen a lot of this redevelopment going on and this infilling going on. Many individuals have taken advantage of it and bought some of these lands. For me, the crucial thing is that have the procedures, the people who bought them, whether for housing estates or for infilling, have the procedures, the correct pricing and all of that been followed.
Do you think Kennedy Japan is wrong?
I don't know. He's made allegation. And I'm saying that this allegation is specific. It's not general. He says that this particular land. So it is easy for us to go in there and actually find out who are the developers. It's so easy because it's actually giving us the land. The ministry has come out to say, yes, redevelopment is going on, but that is official redevelopment.
You speak for the Baumia team, don't you?
Yes, yes. But let me finish. The ministry has come out to say this is an official development. The gentleman is saying it is not official. So all we need to do is just investigate and find out the truth. That's all.
You
So then I'm not wrong.
You speak for the Baumia campaign, right?
Yes, yes.
Is it that because it is Kennedy Japan and we've seen a certain trajectory or trend of officialdom, leadership of the governing party, the MPP, people in high office in the Akufo-Addo-led government just dismissing what he says when he makes those allegations in the public domain, saying that he's just ranting, instead of perhaps knowing that he's an insider, and so what he's saying, he knows what he's saying.
Do you know what he has been saying about the NDC? Your party. Yeah. If you want me to recite what Kennedy Japan has been saying,
I asked you a specific question, not about what he says about the NDC.
And what was your question?
So my question was...
He's not taking serious, that's what you're saying.
No, that you seem to be dismissive of what he always says, especially what he has been saying over the last 3-4 months, when we all know that he's an insider.
You are the media. Why don't you investigate and get to know the truth? Assuming party people don't want to investigate. You are the media. It should be possible for you to go and investigate because you are in the middle. Me, as I sit here, where the property where they are talking about, I don't even know the place. You are telling me that you've gone there and there's actually redevelopment going on. And redevelopment is going on all over the place. The difference is that, is this redevelopment going on officially or has been sold to some people? Who has it been sold to? It would have been helpful.
That is the question. That is the omission.
Can I finish?
Sorry.
It would have been helpful if he had said, it has been sold to Mr. Roland Walker. Then, we know that you have the facts. But be that as it may, it will be so easy to investigate. The ministry has come out to say, yes, there is redevelopment on this land. The redevelopment is part of the policy of redevelopment.
Mr. Do you think that Mr. Kennedy Japan is a disgruntled loser of the MPP presidential race, and so even post the election, he's making all these allegations?
Oh, I don't know if it's disgruntled because he has made statements that indicate that he has accepted the results.
Okay.
And he's prepared to work with the winner, who is Dr. Baumia, for victory. So I do not know if it's disgruntled. But you would also agree that this is not the first time that Mr. Ajipon speaks this way. So
So we shouldn't take him serious.
well, nobody has said so.
Okay.
It has to be investigated.
All right.
Yes. So if I make a statement, I wouldn't want my statement to be dismissed. If there's a dispute, I want it to be investigated. Now, the statement has been responded to by the ministry, and I'm very happy about that. If there was no response, then you could say that people have just dismissed it.
Okay.
But there's a response by the ministry. So if there's any doubt, we just have to go and investigate, because this thing can be so easily investigated by even the media. Going there and finding out what exactly is going on and whether it has been sold to somebody or it's an official club. It's so easy to find out, so that we don't just speculate.
Just 60 seconds on this, then
I
we'll move on
just
to
wanted,
John.
I said it's the omission in the response.
Is what?
Who is the developer?
Oh, but it's a redevelopment.
This is government. Isn't that what the statement says?
I'm saying that the redevelopment program allows governments to sell lands to developers. Somebody has made an allegation, a specific one, that this is being sold to people who have links with government or the New Patriotic Party. So in your response, you should be able to say, this is not true. This has been sold to
So and so.
this person.
What did you have the response from the ministry?
Yeah, I do.
Can you please read it? So,
Just a minute.
thank you.
Oliver, if you can put the response there for me as well. I think
So that we will all go and check who
And it would also have
and
been
the
easier.
shareholders and the owners.
I
of
think
the
the ministry is responsible. There's an official development. Isn't that what there's?
Yes, they didn't give any name. And when you say
Life is official development.
yes, but
It
if
is-
So he said the ministry
It hasn't been sold.
strongly
to anybody.
refutes the
That's what they are saying.
allegation and states that
no, okay, I see what
there's
you are
been no
saying.
such
Yes, yes.
sale of the property.
Yeah.
And that the fact that
I said there's no
the
sale.
current development taking place at the official residence forms part of government redevelopment program.
That's it. They said they haven't been sold to anybody.
So who is doing the
That's
government?
vague. Don't you think the statement is
Anyway,
vague?
no.
That part of the statement.
No, the government officially, look, the bungalow that I live in is a redeveloped property by the state.
Okay.
And I was allocated that bungalow. And I lived there when I was a minister. So government itself is building official residences.
Actually, the statement makes reference to that.
Yes.
as well. So they have the
But-
government redevelopment. They have the one they do with the private sector.
They
and
sell
then
to private sector. But I'm saying that
It's worth investigating.
even don't, if you like, don't take this statement.
Yes.
You can see from here.
yes,
I can see the word.
Upon completion of this particular redevelopment, the 3-acre land will now have 20 housing units for ministers and other senior government officials, and 4 units for Supreme Court justices. A memorandum of understanding for that arrangement with the Judicial Service has since been signed by the Chief Director of the Ministry of Works and Housing.
So clearly, the statement is denying that the land has been sold to an individual.
Okay.
But I'm saying that if you like, because me, I like probity, I like accountability. If you like, let's not even take the ministry's word for it. And let's investigate.
That's it.
Yes. It would have been helpful if the name or the names have been given by my brother Kennedy Ajipon. That yes, it's been sold to Roland Walker and Alex and Nana Komia, then it's clear. But even in the absence of that detail, we can easily investigate.
Do you know the area
Very
where the
easy.
judges are?
I don't know this property.
Not the proper. Do you know the area where the judges?
No. No. They were relocated from the cathedral site. And I understand they've been taken somewhere Cantonese. I don't know the new site. I only knew the cathedral site.
All right. Now, let's get on to John Dramani Mahama, because he's worried that because of the state of the economy, 2025 is not going to look too good. And so has been during his tour of the various areas or regions he's been visiting so far, been to the Volta region, a number of areas, pleading with organized labor, particularly because they have the bulk of the workforce within the structure of the public service and then the working population, should also come to terms with the reality, because based on what he and his team, and of course what we all do know, the economy doesn't look good. We just did an approval of a restructuring of our debts with our external creditors, and government has been on about how good that is, but it also means how bad the state of the economy is, and so says that they should be measured in what their expectations are, because Ghana needs to bounce back. This is what John Dramani Mahama has been saying.
And I'll plead with the teachers' unions, NAT and NAGRAT and UTAG and TEWU and all of them. And all of you are clamoring for allowances, increase in your allowances and so on and so forth. Let me caution you that in 2025, inshallah, after we take over, we will show you the books and the finances of this country. And you realize the harm that the MPP administration has done to Ghana's economy. This country is broke. And so we would beg you that when we come into office, give us a bit of a honeymoon. Let's put things in place so that we can bring the economy back on its feet. And when we have done that, we can accede to your demands again. And that's why I'm being very measured in the promises that I make, because we all know the crisis in which this country has been plunged.
That's why he's not promising one district, one factory, one village, one dam.
You see, Roland, I was proud of my president to be. This is a man of truth and a true patriot. There are no... Why? He could easily have... The question that was posed, I was there, was that...
You were at the event?
Yes, in the Volta region. And they had made a request to be upgraded from motors and Ububiyas to vehicles.
Who had made a request?
A group, we listened to various...
So these are worker groups?
The worker groups.
Okay.
And they were making their request and giving us ideas of what they needed changing. It's a fact-finding tour.
Almost like a town hall kind of...
Exactly. It was a town hall. And the easiest thing to have said was, oh, we'll give it to you. That's popularism, vote buying. He didn't say that. He said, let's be cautious. What I'm going to inherit and what we are in now would not give me the latitude to just say that you will get what you want. We need a honeymoon period. He didn't say we are not going to be working. No. He says we have to fix and then give. So I am measured in my promises. Yes, we're going to come out with a manifesto to be able to do. But unlike those that wouldn't wait to make sure things are in place before they embarked on free SHS, creating chaos in the implementation process, he is going to be dealing with unfinished projects. He's going to be looking at how best to manage the economy before he can even begin to look at the unfinished projects, look at what is in the coffers, and I'll come and show it to you too, so that we all know what I have and what I'm being asked to. And the reason why this is important is that you will notice that all the loans we are supposed to pay, the interest we are doing, all these haircut promises are taking place from 2025 onwards. In other words, Nana Addo's government is shifting the problem to whoever appears on the other side. So the books will be worse than they are now. Because you must start now dealing with how to pay off all those issues that have been created by this government. This is a truthful man. Why? We've heard all the promises. How many of them have been fulfilled?
You mean the one district, one factory, one constituency, 1 million?
We are going to take you from taxation to production. There are more taxes now than then. That's the key one. We are going to take you from taxation to production. We are going to arrest the exchange rate. We are from 3.9, we are 12 and going. These are economic promises. If the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. We have been exposed. We have been downgraded. We can't even, when we hand it over to you, you could go to the Eurobond market. When you are handing over, we may not be able to go to any Eurobond market. We can't borrow because we are junk status. Our inflation rate, where was it? We actually hit 50-something% under the MPP government. And they were screaming when it was teens, 15-14%, they were jumping at. NDC has failed. So now, what are you going to tell people? That we are going to do this, we are going to do that. We will try, but we need the honeymoon. We need to find time. We have to negotiate our way out of the mess that you have created. And we are concerned because all these arrangements that are being made with donor partners and people we owe money, our debtors, is being left for. After all, the president himself has said that I'm tired, I can't do the work again. All these things will be dealt with.
Where did the president say that?
He said that
I should ask you, what did the president say?
The president said that the problems of Ghana will be solved by the next person who is coming.
I was at the MPP.
He said it.
Is that what he said?
He said that they are voting for a leader who will come and...
No, he was in a car when he
Who
spoke.
will come and do it?
He was in a vehicle. They should get that. It was a vehicle and it was us. And he made it clear in the
And he
vehicle.
said he's tired.
In effect, that's what
I'll
I'm putting
look
my
for the
words.
video.
I'm putting my words. But the effect was the next person who will come will solve the problems of Ghana. He is giving, you are still in office. You are still in office. You said the next person who will come will solve the problems of Ghana. You can interpret it as you see.
What did he say? You tell us what.
So, but that's what I'm telling you. I don't have it verbatim.
You said you are paraphrasing.
No, I didn't say that. You are trying to make me paraphrase. I said this is what he said.
Roland,
and
what did he say?
I can't remember verbatim.
Exactly.
I'm trying to get the tape.
But the tape is there. He was sitting, he had entered a vehicle.
I was there that day,
asked.
actually.
Yes, he was
Oh,
asked.
you were there.
was.
So you heard what he said.
Yes.
So what did he
reported
say?
it.
He said he was tired, and that somebody else will come and solve problems. Is that what he said?
That was the implication of what was there.
Oh, nice implication.
No, but it was said. Why
First,
don't
you're,
you play the tape?
paraphrasing.
Please go ahead.
Nice implication.
No.
Mr. Akubian.
It is not
Let-
paraphrase.
let-
You are
No, but
putting
you
words.
should be asking him this question.
No, but no. Why? I've told you what he said. My understanding
I thought you said his
of what
implication.
he said.
Okay.
And we are all taking statements of people and putting them in our own words. You have been doing that the whole day. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm telling you that what I heard him say while sitting in a vehicle and being asked the question implied to me that this was a president who had given up on the country.
Who wants
and was-
somebody else to come and take over?
That is it. That is as far as I can explain it.
Mr. Akubian denies that. He says that's
okay.
Not, he said
The tape is
that's,
out
not
there.
that's not the implication.
Those who are watching and have got the thing, it's on social media. That tape is
Actually,
there.
we'll play it, so don't worry.
I don't have problem with this issue.
Please go-
of whether it's
go ahead.
paraphrasing or what.
And
The man is tired. We all know he's tired.
Okay, so
I
your
like-
interpretation is that he's tired, and as a result of that, it is going to be John Dramani Mahama who will be elected to take over.
Without a doubt. And John Dramani Mahama is telling you, quite rightly, that the whole is bigger than we think. And it is going to be bigger because everybody is pushing all the problems in terms of finance to the future, not in his era. And so we are going to even meet a problem. All these haircuts people are taking, they are expecting to be paid in the next administration, not now. So we have to be clear that his truthfulness in letting people know that I am measured in my promising. It's a complete move from what we've seen over the last 8 years. Why? I was Minister of Health, so I always use the health ministry as my benchmark. Who will ever promise to build 88 hospitals in 1 year, except to win votes? I mean, what kind of promise is that? 88 hospitals in 1 year, and after the 1 year, nothing had moved. You said you build 111 in 80 months. There are different stages all over. Nothing has been done, completed, as we speak. So that type of promising, we have to stop it. The promises were too many. Why? One village, one dam. What was the essence of that? The essence is that you are going to build a dam or a dugout which during the dry season will be able to get water for humans and cattle or animals. All the dugouts dry up in the dry season. What kind of engineering went into the dugouts? Where are they and how many? It's not, when we asked the minister at the time, she then told us that, oh, it's not dams, these are dugouts, and the money that had been allocated was not sufficient for what this thing. That one too is also on tape. She was asked. It was a lady.
And she said what?
She said that the money amount that had been allocated was insufficient to build what people
Howard
expected.
Kubson.
I don't know whether it was Howard Kubson or I can't remember the
It was in
minister.
Parliament.
I think so.
Yes,
All right.
yes. So
So what she did say was that there needed to be some clarification that the dams, by way of their engineering, were different in their dimensions, in size, and so
they were building dugouts.
So it's not your typical dam.
You see, if to build a dam, you need water. The places you are building, there's no water. You are creating a place so that when it rains, water congregates. A dam, you are stopping water which is already flowing. There is no dam. They are building dugouts to store water in the rainy season. This is not diverting, there's a stream and then you are taking water from the stream.
I don't know. So it should have been one village, one dugout.
That's all. But we have decided to use in the normal parlance the word dam. The moment you do that, then stop defining it as oh, there's a different dimension for this. No, we don't build dams.
All right. So when you hear John Dramani Mahama on the campaign trail or the interaction, and he makes these specific statements, and of course, we're currently with the IMF. We just finished the restructuring of our external debt, and so the numbers are available. It kind of puts governments in a very difficult position, does it, or does it not?
No, it shouldn't. Especially when it is coming from John Mahama. If it was coming from Alex Segmefia, I would be worried. But when it's coming from John Mahama, I am not worried. Now, before I deal with John Mahama, now my brother here, see, the propaganda is too much. And so when you are doing propaganda and they ask you a question, you become confused. There you made a statement that the president said he is tired and that somebody else should come and solve Ghana's problems. Clear, definitive statement attributed to the president. When we ask you, you are paraphrasing.
I never said that.
When we push you,
I never said that.
And I said, write it down. You said you're paraphrasing. You use the word paraphrasing.
I never used it.
Then when we push you, you said, well, it is the implication of what that's the implication you had. Then you said you are putting it in your own words. Then you said you heard him say. I mean, it is not necessary. Just state the situation as it is, so we can move. It's not worth your while doing propaganda. Now, John Mahama has a track record. If Alex Segmefia is the presidential candidate and is making these statements, I'll be worried because he has no track record. So you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. John Mahama has a track record of being president for 4.5 years. He's made these statements in 2008, in 2012, in 2013. State of the Nation address after State of the Nation address. press conference after press. He's made all these statements. Then he had 4.5 years. What did he do? What is the track record? And I get the feeling that there's a certain complacency creeping into the NDC camp, and I'm happy about it. This business of when we come into power, give us a honeymoon. Chief, let me tell you, any government that comes into office is given a honeymoon. They call it the 100-day period. Any government that, especially when it's a new government, you are given a honeymoon. Now, he said the same thing in 2013 when he became, when in his first year as president. Do you remember we've chewed the meat to the bone? Do you remember? Do you remember who said it? You remember who said it? John Mahama. You remember the year 2013? He said, we have chewed the meat to the bone. The country is broke. And so workers and so on should.
He said the country is broke then.
Yes. Said we chewed the meat to the bone.
But are you implying now or paraphrasing?
I am quoting him directly. That he said we've chewed the meat
No, you
to
said
the bone.
we are broke.
Now,
he just said it now.
If you chew the meat to the bone.
No, so
now,
you're implying.
Now,
You see, this.
you write it down. Now, he said the same thing in 2013. That there's nothing left in the coffers.
Yes.
And then he had 4.5 years. What did he do? He's saying that the NPP had run the economy to the ground. The clip that you played. Okay. You see, when John Mahama was president, the economy was in extreme difficulty. We all remember. And we actually had to go to the IMF in 2015 for policy credibility. In 2015, throughout the 4.5 years that John Mahama was president, and there were severe economic difficulties in this country that led us to the IMF. Do you know what he said was the cause of the economic difficulty? He said there was some slowdown in China. Check his State of the Nation addresses in 2013, 2014, 15, 16. There was a slowdown in China and commodity prices were not good. That was the problem, the cause of the problem in Ghana. Now that he's even out of office, when he goes abroad and he's talking about the economy and so on, he talks about the impact of COVID and the Ukraine-Russia war and how these developments have devastated African economies and how these developments have dragged nearly 60 million people in Africa into poverty and how it's dragged governments in Africa into debt. He says this when he goes to Harvard, when he gives interviews on CNN. And yet when he comes into Ghana, he says that no, the problems are solely the problems caused by the NPP government. But when he goes abroad, he says that the problems have arisen largely because of COVID and Russia war. When he was president and the economic difficulties were there, he said external factor, China. So there is no integrity.
The former president has no integrity.
But I'm giving you the basis of that. That when he was in office and there was difficulty, he said they were caused by some problem in China. But today, they were caused by either Bawumia or NPP. His collaborators say Bawumia. He too says he's NPP. When he goes abroad, he says that the problems are largely caused by COVID. And I can send you his Harvard speech. And yet when he comes into Ghana, there's no more COVID. There's no more Russia war. It's all Bawumia and NPP. So when he was in office, sang a different tune. When he goes abroad, sings another tune. When he comes into Ghana, sings a different tune. That's what I'm saying, that there doesn't seem to be any integrity. And when he was in office in his first year in 2013, he said the same thing, that we have chewed the meat to the bone. And he subsequently went on to be president for 4.5 years. What did he do? And these things that he's saying, He says it's been measured. What measured? This is the man who says he's going to build houses for teachers. He says build houses for teachers. He says you give tax breaks for people so they can work in the night. He says you give electricity, subsidized electricity to people. He says you give money to people so they can rear pigs and chicken and all kinds of ways to be self-employed. And he hasn't even finished. He's just started. He's making promises all over the place.
Mr. Akumian,
so where is this measure that he's telling us about?
If you take a look at December 2016, the premise on which Ghanaians voted for the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government, and you compare the state of the economy then in terms of the benchmarks that are available for voters to make the decision, and you make that same comparison today for the two economies and voters to make a decision, don't you think that that economy was better than we have today?
The 2016 economy.
Yes.
The 2016
Yes.
economy. Where's the verdict? Because in 2016, there was a verdict by you, myself, him, and the people here. And the verdict was that the economy was bad and the government was voted out by the largest margin suffered by a sitting president, not only in the Fourth Republic, but in Africa. Look, everybody admits that the economy today is bad. The president admits it. The president admits it. And we know the major cause of this situation that we are in. If when you look at the period 2017 to 2019, the 3 years, the economy that was growing 2.4 in 2014, 2.1 in 2015, and then 3.7 in 2016. In 2017, it grew by 7.9, nearly 8%. In 2018, it grew by 6.2. In 2019, it grew by 6.5. Vast difference from the period before 2016. And indeed, the growth rate was touted as the best in the world. And we all know that after 2020, the problems that we had, the problems that you had in this company with COVID, thousands of companies had the same problem. The company that I work for, COVID nearly collapsed the company. The borders were shut. We do a lot of Francophone business in Côte d'Ivoire, in Lomé, in Cotonou, and shut for 2 years. It almost collapsed the company because the currency that were there, the CFA, was really good. We had to do half load, social distancing, for 7 months. So when you can take 40 people, you have to take 20.
Cotonou is where Benin.
Yes, the capital.
You pass to Togo, go
yes,
to Cotonou.
Yes. So, even your company, TV3 or media.
So to their economy is facing problems. Their IMF and all.
All the economies are in difficulties. Look at Nigeria.
Today,
this morning, they say airlines.
Are they all restructuring their debt with their external creditors and all that?
Yes.
The Cotonou, the Togo, and
the African countries that have gone to the IMF since COVID.
No, we know the numbers that have come.
Yes. So you
I'm
can see
talking
that
about like countries with the same demographics,
African countries are like
characteristics.
countries. I'm just dealing with Africa.
Within the sub-region.
The sub-region.
Yeah.
Côte d'Ivoire has gone to the IMF.
Yeah, US was certainly,
yeah.
but they didn't have to restructure their debt before
Oh,
because if you go to the IMF and then the premise on which you go onto the IMF, it gives you a certain kind of shock absorbers. That's the truth, because then it puts your economy on a certain scale before you go. When it collapses before you go, the recovery period is difficult, like we saw compared
but
to
our debt situation was certainly different from the debt. From the debt situation in some of these countries. The debts are not the same.
Yeah, because
So you
we've
cannot-
overborrowed.
So you cannot have the same conditions. But the general principle is that you've gone to the IMF. But then they will look at the prescription they give to you will be different, depending on your sickness. But you are sick.
Please wrap up
That's
for
the,
me.
that's the point.
Please wrap up.
So what I'm saying is, in the period before COVID, you would agree that we were posting some of the best economic performances in the Fourth Republic. Then in 2020, we got hit by COVID and all of that. It doesn't mean that the government didn't do anything. You could always say that, well, maybe with hindsight, if we had borrowed less, or we had done this, or we had done that, we could have withstood the COVID better. That's a fair argument. But you would agree that this was
Actually, that's
real,
the best argument.
So, and you,
Because
and if my people,
even leading economies, etc.
listen, and if my people make that argument, they will have a little bit of credibility.
Really?
Yes, but they don't.
But they don't
say-
have credibility.
They say, oh, everything. Oh, do they? All that I've told you showed that clearly.
all right.
There's no credibility.
All right.
When you have a situation where difficulties in their time, they said it was caused by China.
No.
Then when they go, even today, when they go abroad, they talk about the international situation, COVID and all of them, the devastation it has cut across Africa. As if Ghana is not in Africa. Then when they come to Ghana, they say, it's Baumia. So these people don't speak with integrity. They don't speak with credibility. They're just doing politics.
So who
And
speaks with
that's
him? Dr. Baumia?
if you say so.
Okay.
Can
And-
I?
Mr. Segbefia.
Let me conclude. So my point is that there are difficulties today. The government has not folded its arms. Things are being done to get us out. As we speak, the macro situation is pointing in a direction that all of us are happy with. It hasn't come to the level that will be satisfied, but at least it's pointing. You look at the CD, it's been generally stable over the last 1 year. You look at the growth rate, it's recovering. So things are getting, inflation is coming down. So if we keep at this path, we will get to an improved situation, which shows that government is doing something. My last point is that you cannot look forwards and backwards at the same time. You cannot go abroad and talk about the devastation of COVID. And then when you come to Ghana, you say there's no COVID, it's Baumia and Akufo-Addo. We cannot do that.
Mr. Segbefia, 2 minutes for you before I wrap up.
Only two,
Yes, please.
if you say so.
It's enough for propaganda.
The first thing I should say that
He says
MPP,
John Dramani Mahama doesn't have credibility.
MPP can never be a benchmark for us. In this last 8 years, we will never use MPP as a benchmark as to how we are going to perform or what we are going to do.
Ask you what they use.
It will be a disaster.
So what do you use as your benchmark?
We use what we have done and achieved as our benchmark.
Between 2012
Don't worry,
and
Nana.
2016.
I've just said, General,
Which
you are
led to your
you are
rejection?
not worth being used as a benchmark. You have failed abysmally, and you are doing the best propaganda on this program so
Well,
far.
have I done propaganda?
You see,
No,
It's
tell me
the
propaganda.
major reason,
It's for the viewers.
tell
the
me,
major
challenge you to show me
reason,
the
the
propaganda.
major reason that was put forward, not by us, but by also them, was Doomso. Why all of a sudden you are talking of China?
I'm talking about what John Mahama
Please,
said. Do you want me to Google it for
please.
you?
Let him have this.
No, he's saying that what I'm saying is not true.
It's not.
When you are
I'm
talking
saying. I
about
didn't say. You. Why do you put words in my mouth? Why did I say you are
No,
saying
please
it's not true?
conclude. I don't have much of the time.
Yes, I said
I want to take some few messages.
And he's doing
he,
propaganda.
he made it clear. We all knew that the biggest problem under the Mahama government was Doomso.
Who caused it?
And, Nana, not at your level. Doomso was something that came over the years. Even Kufuor sent priests to go and pray for Akosombo Dam.
So why didn't he
And
cripple? Why didn't he cripple Kufuor?
So, why? Because it started from that time, right through. The person who fixed Doomso, which at the generation side, was John Mahama. Go and ask Chairman Sabosu. He has confirmed this. So, let's be clear. The problem that existed at the time, that caused our books to shift, was power. Then you talk about growth. When we're living because we have been with the IMF. Even before we left, we had predicted the 7-point-something% growth. Because we also got 2 oil wells that came on stream in August of 2017, thereabouts. So our revenue generation, every time we get an extra oil well, you find that our growth rate spikes. Please, Nana, you have failed. The kind of revenue you people have had including the borrowing, you have no business saying that you have some explanation. There is no explanation because COVID was a worldwide phenomenon. The doomsaw was not. Every country suffered COVID. Doomsaw was peculiar to Ghana. We solved it. So your pain was everybody's pain. Why is our position worse than everybody else? And you hit the nail on the head. Borrowing. We overborrowed. We had no plan. And we got ourselves in the mess that we are in. You are not our benchmark. Will never be.
Okay. I have this one from Akwesi Boateng. Akwesi Boateng says, if you take a look at what the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia government has done, they should be given some credit. Introducing policies that also are meant and intended to change the lives of people. You can talk about difficulties in management, but the policies are laudable. Let's speak truth to power. This one from Kakre Samoa. Just oppose what Alesegbefia is saying to what happened in 2017. Even when they said when they said the economy was difficult, Akufo-Addo launched the free SHS, even when he was complaining about the state of the economy. Free SHS is capital intensive, is it not? Compare it to the 24-hour economy that is designed to put people to work. And then I have this one from Chris from Ashalibotwe. I admire how the MPP will still argue with a lot of passion, even in failure. Anyway, defeat is comfortably staring in their faces. I have this one from Ni Bemi. Ni Bemi says, if you go around the country, there are a number of development projects that are taking place. We can complain about the completion time, but at least there are a number of developments. Good morning, Mr. Holt. Let Mr. Kumia know that his MPP never won the 2020 elections. Oh, then what did they do? Asanko, Santa Maria. They won the election, according to what we have, by way of the figures in the declaration. All right. Now, this one also from Musa Abatwa says, as a renowned journalist, do your independent investigation relative selling of state assets since the inception of the fourth, and I believe you arrived to the same conclusion that the MPP Akufo-Addo-Bawumia government are the worst culprits of acquiring state assets. Mr. Kumia is going to say Bawumia didn't promise that students will be given laptops and tablets. Akufo-Addo said that he is tired. That's the interpretation you give to his statement at the headquarters during the day of voting. Akwesi Nkansa says there has to be relative praise for the Akufo-Addo-led government as well. Things have been introduced. One district, one factory. Free SHS. These are good initiatives. Kofi Kwatiambeni, GM is speaking from experience. In 2008, Kufuor handed over a single spine with a salary increase of 20%, which Atamil's government also inherited. And so government is a continuum, he says. Nana Kumia, thank you for passing through today. And then also Alessa.
My pleasure.
Well, NS Domi, good morning to you as well. And yesterday we had a conversation. But please, we have cash out. It goes with a short code *439#. Make sure you cash out with us every morning. So when we get to do the draws, you also get to win. Many of you joining us on our streams on Facebook, we're grateful as well. And we keep encouraging you, make sure that when you cash out, you let us know. So let me just read a couple. Kofi Gordon Michael says, Nana Akomia is doing damage and control, always equalizing and bringing back old stories. Yet, here you are. Isn't all these same benchmarks for which a decision was made in 2016? And then Fred Gakpo says, NDC 4 pa dear. Okay, so Money says he has cash outs. He's not winning. All right.
What is the cash out?
Cash out is a draw. You want to draw? Let me.
The lottery?
It's a draw. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.